Hi, this is Rich Eiler with the NorthPoint Group. Today I'm going to provide an overview for potential business partners to understand the NorthPoint offerings, what we have as solutions that may be of interest in having business partners utilize these solutions in their go-to-market services. As part of the overview, I'm going to provide some background on the company, go over the software solutions that NorthPoint provides, talk a little bit about the architecture, talk about the predictive and prescriptive analytics within the software and what that means, the impact on the client's business from utilizing the NorthPoint solutions, where the solutions work in the life cycle of an engagement, and our partnering strategy. So let me begin with the NorthPoint mission, what NorthPoint's about, what NorthPoint provides, and what NorthPoint will do in the future. NorthPoint was founded in 1992 through collaborative education and research with MIT, Stanford, and Vanderbilt. So with these prestigious universities, NorthPoint has become part of their instructional program, both in undergraduate, graduate, and PhD programs. So, over the years, since '92, NorthPoint has developed, based on this research, a suite of software and database-powered offerings with a methodology. Behind this are what we call the fundamental business activities and their supporting steps, tasks, and processes. So, what are those fundamental business activities organizations need to do within the enterprise, within a process area, within a functional area, relative to initiatives or projects, as an example, relative to offerings, relative to outsourcing or cloud computing or shared services. Those are all examples, once again, that we'll identify as we go through the solutions. So, fundamental business activities are used in the steps, tasks, and processes for identifying the root cause of issues and what is required to achieve best-in-class performance. Best-in-class based on the fundamental business activities, the steps, tasks, and processes, and what over 500 organizations have done in these particular areas. When we talk about uncovering the root cause of issues, we're also talking about uncovering the unmet and unidentified needs that may exist in the marketplace, of customers, of the initiative that's going on inside the organization that enable organizations to grow and sustain measurable performance improvement. Using the analytics to provide predictive expected time, cost, and delivery of value based on current course and speed. So we talk about current course and speed. This is where you're going to end up unless you make these prescriptive changes. So what must be changed, for what reason, and how to do it. These provide insights for the business leaders to optimize and sustain, once again, enterprise and/or functional departmental performance from an objective that is accurate, disciplined, repeatable, and measurable. The NorthPoint value. There are 4 areas of our focus: growth and revenue, efficiency and effectiveness, risk, and finally capital/investment. Other pieces that I want to emphasize on this slide, once again, are the unmet and unidentified needs. So an example, unmet needs is something that typically people know about that may not have been documented. Unidentified needs, I hadn't even thought about that. So capabilities that no one had thought about that would provide tremendous value for the organization, for customers, clients, whatever it happens to be. The assessments are actually delivered via a collaborative series of sessions, self-stated sessions, that require consensus. So we'll talk about some of the fundamental business activities, steps, tasks, and processes. Those are actually provided in statements that stakeholders score on a consensus basis And each of those fundamental business activities, steps, tasks, and processes is weighted on its impact on the performance of whatever we're looking at. Projects, process areas, functional areas, etc. Once again, the assessments are repeatable to enable you to have that culture of continuous improvement. That's from a customer standpoint. From a business standpoint, these are highly differentiated offerings that enable you to expand account relationships, what we call upsell and cross-sell. I'm in an account, I'm doing some business in the IT area, maybe I'm running what we call IT 360. There are opportunities maybe in the product development area or the engineering area. There may be opportunities in sales and marketing for improvement. The solution suite goes across those process functional areas. It's extremely profitable compared to labor-based approach. Most of the assessments are completed in a day or less as compared to typical assessments which take 10 weeks or more. The assessment work can be leveraged into design, implement, and operate opportunities, and it does really build strong account relationships as you're improving things very quickly, less expensively, less cost for the customer in a very short period of time. So you may look at this and say, well, give me some examples. Well, what are the areas that you're really helping customers with? So let's look at the very first one, enterprise performance. Increasing revenue 6.4% above plan within 6 quarters, generating a 30% ROI. These aren't just examples from 1 or 2 customers. This is very typical when we're looking at running the tool suite that's around enterprise performance. So, significant relative to improvements, be it EBITDA, looking at improvements in knowledge, what we call KEP, knowledge, experience, and performance. Where's the knowledge in the organization? Let's improve that knowledge so we can improve the precision of the decisions that are made in that particular organization. Outsourcing and shared services. So I'm going to improve those relationships. I'm going to have a significant impact on the client satisfaction. I'm going to have a significant impact on the revenues of the service provider. So you can see consulting revenue goes up significantly, outsourcing scope increases significantly, consequently significant revenue opportunities or enhanced revenue opportunities for that service provider. Now if we look at offerings, 1, 2, 3, fifth one down, we can look at increased revenue, 20 to 60%, increased margins, 12%, improved time to market by almost 36%. So definite impact on offerings, definite impact in the IT area or any process or functional area, improvements to business partners or supplier performance. How can we increase the performance of the sales organization? And so you see reduced time to market cost structure, reduced sales cycle time, and then finally at the very bottom you see an example of acquisition and investment performance. So how do I improve the time to market? How do I improve time to profitability? And how can I make sure if I'm looking at an investment that I understand the value associated with the offerings, the company, the brand, all the things that I need to know from an investment standpoint, getting down to how much should I invest, when should I invest it, or should I buy this company, and what's the value of the company. So 4 underlying principles serve as foundations for the NorthPoint solutions. I talked a little bit about the FBAs, what we call fundamental business activities. There are 7,000 of those and the supporting steps, tasks, and processes that are in the NorthPoint database. So significant relative to identifying performance opportunities for improvement or areas that the organization has not taken advantage of. Because of the rich nature of the database, it enables you to mine the database for insights into new risks, trends, and value opportunities. Each fundamental business activity, step, task, and process is weighted to its importance, which enables the accuracy of the results. Once again, we can predict future performance, expected time, cost, and value based on what we call current course and speed. This is where you're headed unless you make these changes. There are over 1,400 assessments in the database, and somewhere in the neighborhood of 54 million person hours were used to create this. So a great deal of effort and time, obviously, has gone into the creation of the fundamental business activities, all the assessments, which enables then the ability to compare to what we call best-in-class performance, which is approximately about the top 6% of organizations. In addition to that, we're going to identify the key missing data, information, and knowledge, once again, impacting the precision and the completeness of those management decisions. And finally, once again, at the bottom of this, we talked a little bit about the assessments are conducted via facilitated session, having the key stakeholders there for these sessions. So, who are the users of information, who are the generators of information in those organizations within the entity that are involved in those process areas. Collaborative approach creates incredible buy-in and follow-through. Consultants are not coming in to perform an assessment on the organization. Consultants are coming in to actually drive the facilitation of the session and scoring of those fundamental business activities, steps, tests, and processes that are critical to the success of what the organization is trying to do. Once again, a project, an offering, whatever it happens to be. Because the stakeholders are scoring this, tremendous buy-in into what the results are. They have assessed themselves relative to best in class. So, repeatable? Absolutely. Done in a short period of time? Absolutely. Buy-in? Tremendous. So, let's look at the entire portfolio. So we talked about the 4 particular areas: efficiency and effectiveness, growth, revenue, risk, capital investment. So on the left-hand side, when we're looking at efficiency and effectiveness, I want to speak, how can I take advantage or improve outsourcing? What can I do relative to shared services to improve? Now that I've taken the cost out, how do I get the value? Finance 360, what needs to be done to improve the relationships across the organization, leverage those capabilities relative to the financial area. We don't want finance just to provide the output at the end of the quarter. How did we do, etc. Let's be proactive. What can finance do to provide more value to the organization? How can the CFO in that organization provide additional value to the entire company? Finance 360 is an extremely comprehensive solution. So whether I'm looking at order to cash, record to report, source to pay, I'm looking at an example, business planning, all those areas can be tremendously impacted by the statements and the scoring within Finance 360. Let's find those areas that we can improve tremendously, once again repeating this on whatever time frame you would like, 90 days, 180, whatever it happens to be. Growth to revenue is an extremely comprehensive solution suite that is all around the offerings. How big is the market that I'm going after? What part of that market can I get? Where are the buyers in that particular marketplace? How many of those buyers can I get today? How many of the buyers are in the dormant dissatisfied category, which typically have a much longer sales cycle? What's the market messages I ought to have? What are the value propositions and buying criteria that I should have that should be part of my market messaging? If I have greater value propositions than my competition, and those value propositions are of greater value or importance to my customer, shouldn't I price based on those and not just cost and a margin? How can I improve my sales organization? How can I improve something I've taken to the marketplace that isn't living up to expectations? So I can use this suite pre-launch. I can use this after an offering has been launched and it's not meeting expectations. I can figure out and look at what's the impact of this offering before I take it to the market on my brand. Should I take something in this marketplace based on the impact on the brand? How am I doing after sales? So after sales and service, what we call buyer, seller, customer care, how can I improve that? How can I get greater value out of my relationships? Maybe I'm selling through distributors. How can I turn that distribution network or those channels into maximizing the value and the revenue for my organization, and overall what we call achievable revenue? What are my revenues actually going to be in this next year? We can be 90-some% accurate by utilizing these capabilities. These tools are integrated, or these solutions are integrated. If I go over to the risk category, risk associated with a project or an initiative, risk associated with security, risk in length of time and dollars associated with a transition. I'm transitioning to an outsourcing or shared services organization. How can I manage the time and the dollars and maximize the value of that? Business partners, suppliers, where are the risks? What are the things that I can do to increase the value of my business partners or my suppliers? What's the business impact on a major initiative? So what's the changes? And I have a PMO office as an example. How can I maximize my value out of the program management office? So finally, over on the right-hand side, performance-based investments and performance-based acquisitions. How can I understand the risks and the values associated with an acquisition or an investment? How much should I invest? At what time frame? Should I buy this company? What's the actual value of the company? Those are all examples. The bottom part of this slide, you can see, once again, over 1,400 assessments, 500 companies across 22 industries, from very small organizations to very large organizations, to startups, to North America and South America, to Europe and Asia, across the entire entity. Now I'm going to look at efficiency and effectiveness. So I talked about some of these solutions. I'll give you a couple more examples while we're on this slide. Process and Cost Analyzer. It's a web-based tool that allows you to quickly go out and analyze any process or functional area, looking across hundreds or thousands of people. Instead of going out and doing a sampling, I can uncover what are the activities and processes they do, how much time do they spend doing them, what's the cost associated with this, as there's an activity-based costing engine underneath it. So this whole solution set is all around providing and improving performance in any process or functional area across the entire organization from a key metrics for success standpoint, or looking at pieces like Finance 360, or being able to once again go across the entire organization with Process and Cost Analyzer. And then what are the capabilities that I might be able to leverage, such as cloud computing, shared services, and outsourcing. If I look at, once again, the Growth and Revenue Software Solution Suite, I can go from the beginning to, do I have innovative offerings, or are there a series of offerings that I have innovative? How can I improve the innovation in my organization? Once again, all the way down to, am I taking care of my current customers? And then back up to, I'm thinking about taking this offer to the marketplace. What's my competition? What can I gain relative to my offering versus the competition? How much of that marketplace can I get today? And what is the migration from customers that are going to have an immediate need and immediate spend to those that are dormant and dissatisfied, and how long is that migration going to be? The third set of solutions, once again, go from things that are happening, regulations that are happening in the marketplace, such as Dodd-Frank, to the financial standards that are changing in the United States that the globe has looked at, IFRS conversions, how long, how much, associated with those. Initiative assessment, which is the very top one, has been used over 70 times on SAP and Oracle implementations. Once again, I can run this at any time I want to. I can run it before I start a project. I can run this solution during the middle of the implementation. I can run this solution when the CFO is so fed up with how much money has been spent and how long and how much more am I going to need to spend, and where are my risks, and what's the value I'm going to get out of this. So it's more than just times and dollars. It's about where are the impacts to the value that I sold the organization. How can I achieve that? How can I maximize my return on that investment? Once again, run in less than a day. And finally, just to give you a perspective on this suite all around investments and acquisitions, we actually use our own solution set relative to startup companies and investments we make in startups where we let them utilize our solution suite in return for equity in the startup of the business. So if you think about it, what's the investment going to be? How big is the market? What are the value propositions and buying criteria of my offering that I'm taking to the marketplace? How can I maximize my return on my investment and the investor's investment in those organizations? So we've used this many times with very large organizations in looking at making acquisitions and coming up with the real value of the organization. It's not looking in the rearview mirror and looking at what has happened relative to the revenues that the company's had and their net returns. Now we're looking forward and saying, what is the value of the offerings that we're taking to the marketplace, and is that organization actually going to achieve those revenues that they have projected out in the next 1 to 2 years, the real value of the organization. So, some concrete examples on this slide, just so you understand, once again, in the 4 focus areas. Some things we haven't talked about. If I look at under capital and investment over on the far right-hand side, what's the missing knowledge? What's missing as I'm looking at a potential acquisition target? What don't I have? Yes, I have all the financials. Yes, I have a bunch of MBAs. Yes, I can do all kinds of analysis on the financials. What are the things I don't know? Uncovering those are risks, and being able to uncover those, minimize the risk, or at least make the knowledge available so you know now what you're looking at and what is the real value, once again, of that organization. If I move a little bit to the left-hand side and look under risk, what's the risk associated with an alliance or a joint venture? We can do those. What are the risks associated with any initiative that I'm taking on, or in security as an example? And if I move over to the far left-hand side, how can I maximize my value out of the information technology organization? How can I make sure that what we're trying to get accomplished in the organization and that money is being spent in IT is being maximized? We call it IT 360, and it's really the alignment of the IT organization to the business organization and maximizing the investment that is spent on IT. That investment may be internal and or external. So, where do the analytics, where do the NorthPoint solutions play? If I'm a consulting organization, I look at it's across from customer engagement to solutioning to governance to execution to innovation across the whole account management arena. So if I look at the gray boxes at the bottom, the complications, how do I demonstrate that I have unique capabilities in a commodity marketplace? We have a suite of solutions focused on that. How can I engage my customer engagement? How can I get them engaged into what needs to happen, by whom, and what time frame, and what the ROI is? How do I identify and get that alignment with the key stakeholders? How do I really understand what the customer needs are? Identifying the risk, balancing the risk and reward, clarifying the value, and how that value is going to get achieved. Establishing the measurement and reporting processes, monitoring the risk, correcting the mistakes before they're being made, obtaining those right skills at the right time frame. So once again, what's the missing gap? What's the knowledge, experience, and performance that's missing, and when do you need it relative to that initiative? Capturing the value, going beyond the SLAs when it comes to the outsourcing or shared services. How can I maximize my value out of outsourcing or shared services? Making sure I'm an innovative organization and I'm providing innovative solutions to my internal and or external customers. So, speed, accuracy, and value. How do we deploy this? Very quickly. Once again, we are not a consulting organization. We'll work with your organization to train your people. We will work with your account teams so they know how to sell this, they know how to position it, and they know how to perform these assessments. So, sales, delivery, we'll work with both those pieces. We actually do a revenue sharing and/or cost sharing depending on the solution suite that you're looking at. So we can very quickly come in, train your people, get you to the point where you can sell and deliver this, enable your other capabilities in your organization, and quickly retain value for your customers and increase your revenue significantly. This can be scaled very, very quickly. You can start with one or more solutions and grow that so that when you're in an account, you can actually expand that account. Aligning your needs with our capabilities to make you outrageously successful. That's what our focus is. So we have differentiated service offerings that actually shorten the sales cycle and will increase your win rates. It's a collaborative approach. We'll work with your account teams just like you work with your clients. The assessments are delivered via, once again, a collaborative series of sessions that require consensus. You will learn more about what your clients' issues are, where individuals stand relative to their thinking process on those issues, and what they want to get accomplished in these sessions. Then you'll spend weeks and months trying to get that same level of information. Our processes and our solutions are very cost effective. It creates the improvement portfolio that will drive your project teams, your consulting teams, your account teams. The solution suites are a grouping of related solutions that, once again, enable you to upsell and cross-sell, go across, creating those annuity accounts. The database. The database can be mined for trends, insights. These solutions are more profitable than the hourly-based model that exists today. We are very flexible on how we'll work with your organization, be it utilizing the solutions and a revenue sharing to licensing our products to creating your own database if you so choose. So once again, we are not in the consulting business. We will work with you and we can license our tools and our analytics. Thank you very much. If you need more information, please visit the NorthPoint website or contact any NorthPoint representative who will take you through, in particular, a solution that you like or a solution suite